Hellblade 2.
You know what? I'll put it this way. That needs to be at Xbox's show.
The last time Monolith Software came out with a video game was 2017 with Shadow of War. That, like, 2018, 2019, 2020, 2021, 2022. How long is this game going to take?
There's a slight, tiny possibility we may see something regarding P3 remake. There's a slight possibility. P6, if we see something about that, I will be completely flabbergasted.
Like, I don't want to have to rub the Square headquarters. Be like, please, sir, please, just a little bit, please.
What's poppin', everybody? It's the No Level Cap Podcast. We back once again with the crew to talk about all the anime, all the gaming, none of the bullshit. Let me introduce y'all to the co-hosts. We got the Collective Collectors, the master of Twitch, Will Coleman. What's going on, Will?
Nothing much, my guy. Just chilling, relaxing. Did a couple of days of streaming some multiplayer games, DVD, Apex. Getting back into that grind again. Like I'm lying to myself and lying to y'all right now, saying it's the grind happening again. It ain't. But we here though. just know we here.
All right, that's fair. That's fair. Next up, we got the Black Daredevil, a secret weapon, a No-Level Cap, Terrence Flowers. What's going on, Terrence?
Yo, things are good. Started a new acting class today. Going to be doing that throughout this this summer. So that's going to be a thing. Other than that, of course, I'm assuming Rakeem or Devin are going to bring this up. But yeah, Street Fighter 6 is out. Been dabbled a little bit in it. I don't have any like online experience with it yet, but got into like maybe 5 minutes of World Tour and just been dabbling around with the tutorials. But yeah, I mean, based on the response to this is going to be like one of the most popular Street Fighters to date. So yeah, it's good to see Capcom back when it comes to fighting games. They've come back with everything else, but now it seems like they've officially made their comeback with fighters. So it feels good.
What's up? I'm glad you're enjoying it so far. I do feel like Street Fighter 6 is going to be, the game. At least, like it's going to be the fighting game for at least a couple of months until Mortal Kombat comes out, and then we'll get to see a back and forth. It's great to have like beautiful. It's great to have more industries or more parts of the industry more vibrant and shit like that. So next up, we got the living cartoon and the man with the golden voice, Rakeem Beck. What's going on, Rakeem?
I ain't never backing down for my city, for my town. I'm going to take the crown. Street Fighter 6 has been what I've been on outside of work. It's been SF6. It's been lovely. I'm trash. I'm getting better. Me and my fellow co-host, Mr. Devin Butts, Mr. Gaming Lift, have been going at it back and forth a little bit, learning this game, learning intricacies of this game, learning what to do and what not to do. I've been online. I played the story mode of practice, arcade, all that. And I'm just immersing myself in Street Fighter for the moment until MK comes out. So great. It's great. It's been a great time. I am always been a lover of fighting games. Maybe people on the channel may not know this. I've been a fighting game fan my entire life. So when a new fighting game hits, like it's hitting right now, it's always a positive thing for me, and I'm quite enjoying it. And leading up to Final Fantasy 16 coming out, it's going to be a great summer for me as a gamer. There's so much stuff to play. Too much. I'm trying at some point getting Diablo 4. So I'm going to have my hands full with games for a while. So I'm just in a good mood. So yeah.
Next up, we got One Punch Man and the Master of Combos, Devin Butts. What's going on, Devin?
I'm good, man. As Terrence and Rakeem just said, man, Street Fighter 6, man, I ain't never backing down, man. For my city, for my town, wherever you reside at, man. Where the fisticuffs reside, that's where I'm at. Yeah, man, it's been a pretty good experience so far. The game has been like greatly received so far. Not gonna say it's like a perfect game or whatever, but it's a pretty good reimagining of Street Fighter. Street Fighter's been, a little rough with 5. They got better at the end, but Street Fighter 6 is definitely better on release. It's definitely much better reception on release. A lot more content just out the gate. That's already a plus. I've been online a little bit with it. Mainly been making content with it. Got like 2 combo videos out already, so I'm trying to trying to make at least like 2 or 3 more before the weekend is over. Just trying to go through all the characters and see what's possible. So yeah, Street Fighter, baby. That's as soon as the podcast over, going right back to Street Fighter.
Let me ask you
Back
something.
to the lab.
Yeah, man.
Back to the lab again. But let me ask you something. Where can we find those combo videos?
You can go to my YouTube. I post clips on Twitter, but mainly most of where I put on what I create is on my YouTube channel, Game and Live. All caps GAMENLIFTT, and go on there if you like the content. I actually put a Dragon Ball video out a few days ago too. So the Dragon Ball video and 2 Street Fighter videos, DJ and Jamie. So yeah, more to come.
Hey, that's what I want to hear. Lastly, I am Sage Ashford, the man who won't shut up. If you didn't know, No Level Cap goes live every Monday morning. We're on YouTube for video fans, but if you prefer the audio version, we're live on Spotify as well. We're now at 96 subscribers, which means we're only 4 away from hitting the big 100. I appreciate y'all. We still killing it. I just need them last 4. We hit that big 100. And then, I think after that, we hit like 1 billion. I think that's what the next
CN.
Yeah.
We need CN.
Now we're talking about, like, as Keem said, it's been a great summer it looks like we're in for a great summer of games so far. Street Fighter reviewed well, Diablo reviewed well. Next up is Final Fantasy, and then we've got some other big games to come in the fall, or like even in like late summer. So there's a lot going on. But more like something else that's going on right now is that we've got, the June summer showcases. We can't call it E3 no more. It's, E3 is dead now. And so now we're stuck looking at all these big summer showcases that are coming out. By my count, there are like at least 9 showcases where there will be games shown. A few more, like somewhere around 10 to 12, where there'll be like, looks, deep dives into games, or like talks with developers and things like that. So there's a lot of gaming that'll be talked about over the course of the next 2.5 weeks. And so what I wanted to do is a predictions list, but I wanted to do one a little differently than how we normally do it. I have a list of about 30 games, and I've split them up for each one of y'all. You're going to get a list of games. I'm going to ask you whether you think it's going to be there or not. And we'll tally it up at the start of July, basically, because we're going to go all the way through June. And if it's announced at some show, you can predict it if you want. You don't have to, like, what show it's going to show up at. But if it's announced at some show, you'll be able to tell me, like, all right, look, that counts, and that's a point. We'll tally it up, see who wins at the end of the month. So, first up, we got Will. Let me ask you something, Will. Like a Dragon 8, not Like a Dragon Gaiden. That's, of course, going to be at RGG Summit. But do you think that we see, and I mean, of course, this is already announced. So what I'm really asking you is, do we get a look at some gameplay?
I think we do get some gameplay, because I ain't gonna say it's about time or anything like that, because that's just a little too cliche. But I do think we're gonna see something, because they're gonna want to show us this. I mean, 7 came out the gates kind of blazing, and it kind of also took in more people, just like Yakuza 0 did. Like when 0 came out, it grabbed a whole extra section of a fan base, and it was like, oh, people like it, and people started playing through the series, and now they've gotten to 7, or they're reaching 7. And I think it's time they want to see more of what 8 brings, especially since it's now a turn-based RPG now. So it's time for it. It's time for it to appear, no doubt.
So you think it'll be, what are we looking at? Are we looking at like a little brief like clip, or are we looking at like some actual time and then like maybe even a release date?
I'm going to say we're going to see a little brief something, because I don't think they're going to have a date. I think we're going to have a little brief something, maybe a little bit of gameplay, maybe some CG here or there, or some of even the cutscenes in the game maybe. Okay. Or maybe even introducing maybe whoever the villain may end up being, like their actor, like introducing them or something. So maybe we'll see something like that come up.
It makes a lot of sense. The only reason I'm leaning more in your direction, but the only reason why I'm like, I don't know, is because like I'm thinking about how basically we do have Like a Dragon Gaiden coming out sometime this year, and they have to, of course, you would want to put the focus on that, but that is like a side story, or like it's more like a Dragon 7.5.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so like you would imagine that they want to like focus on that, but also let you know, like, all right, we got this other game coming, and it'll probably be coming, somewhere in the middle of next year. So
right.
but we'll see. Next up, Terrence, Project L.
First off, I have to say I like how this feels like a game show. Come on down, make your prediction. Will this be at the June's Game Fest? Let's Project L. Let's see. The last time we got news for that was that this year or was that November of last year? I can't remember.
I want to say it was last year.
Yeah, it was last year. I want to say.
I'm going to say no because Riot, honestly, they do their own thing. They don't need any kind of special showcase to just they could drop whatever they want to at any time. They've done that pretty much with every single I think they've kind of done that with everything pretty much pertaining to Project L. Maybe outside of maybe like one or two times, but for the most part, they just drop a video on it, the internet reacts, and then they dip. And I think they said that the next time we would hear from them, it would be this year, but I think maybe they would be further along in going into like the beta stage of things because that game is still probably, if it's not next year, then it's 2025 because there's definitely still working on it. But I don't think we're going to see it at this summer's. I don't think we're going to see it this month.
Okay, so that's why I was like, that's why I said in the month of June, because of course, like, it doesn't necessarily have to be at like Summer Game Fest. It could be anywhere. They could do their own show.
Yeah,
of course, because they're big enough to do it. But it does kind of make sense because I did do some looking and they did say something like it could be as late as summer 2025, and if so, you got an even chance of like that showing up now, and then it's just like another early look at it, or them just being like, all right, man, look. We just not gonna have this.
I'll say this. If they showed anywhere, I think it would show up at EVO this year. That'd be a good place to maybe showcase a new character and maybe like an update, and that's it.
Okay. Rakeem, what were you gonna say?
I was gonna say, like, even how they've marketed this so far, it's really been like these video mini essays on how the development's going and the systems. It's very much appealing to people who really like fighting games and want to learn the systems and mechanics. We haven't had a real rollout for like a trailer or a hype trailer or package for like more of a casual audience. So they're ways away, and I agree. Maybe at EVO, EVO will probably be the earliest I would think they'd see it.
Okay. Devin, you predicted it on well, you didn't predict it, but you did pick it on the Fantasy Critic. Said it was coming out this year. They have talked about it recently. So do you think that we see Final Fantasy VII Rebirth shown anytime in the month of June?
That's my heart. I would like to say yes. Every fiber in my being wants to say yes.
Yeah,
I was actually watching a video earlier where somebody was talking about FF7 Rebirth, and they were talking about like the fact that FF16 is like literally on the cusp of it coming out. And they were saying maybe since it's being released, or I guess the attention will be off of that now that it's in people's hands. Something in June.
Now, I do want to tell you that to my knowledge, there is no Square showcase this June. What there is a Final Fantasy 16 pre-launch celebration.
I saw that. I feel like with Square, they will probably do, even if they do have a pre-celebration, they might have something at the end like, hey, y'all happy about 16? All right, we got that out of the way. Here's some on 7. But that's just me wishful thinking. I'm gonna say no, because to be honest, I really was hoping to see something PlayStation Showcase was not the greatest overall, but I was hoping to see it there possibly. But I think it would probably be a better chance for another showcase to pop up if it did come up somewhere. I don't know. I'm gonna say yes, because reason why they showed us something on it went dark, and of course it was because of 16. So 16 is about to come out. So I feel like there has to be something. They got to have some type of trailer to show something else. Because, I mean, I ain't gonna lie. I was talking to somebody about this, and it's been a while. Like, FF7 Remake came out. I can't believe it's been that long already for the first part. You talking about 3 parts? Like, you got to at least show something. It might not be on the way coming out anytime soon, but just give me something. Show Sephiroth sword or something. It's somebody gonna show it in June, man. Somebody got to show it. It's a lot.
Will,
of
what you
showcases.
got to say, man?
I was gonna say if y'all are following either Final Fantasy or Square on Twitter, they did.
Yeah. No.
Recently.
I did. They did. They had up the thing about like we're working on nailing down a release date.
Right. That's what I wanted to bring up.
Yeah.
I'm like, if they talking about nailing down a release date, I feel like it's a possibility something could be happening this month.
Yeah.
For them to be like, if we nail this down, we'll tell y'all something. They may not have said that explicitly, but it's just like we gonna put this down, and there's a chance we could tell y'all something soon. So you never know.
All right, Rakeem, what you got?
Yeah, adding on to that, there was like I saw this recently also, Mike. There seems to be some reports that Final Fantasy 16 pre-orders aren't as high as Square Enix would like them to be.
That is correct.
And some of the announcement of Rebirth's getting nailing down release date might be a direct cause of that. They might want to start like, hey, leading into Rebirth. If 16's pre-orders aren't going well, we need to start nailing down release dates very early and announcing them.
No, like all the stuff, like all of the things that you two just brought up, just makes me think that it's less likely to show up.
Yeah.
Like we're working on nailing down a release date. I'm like, well, that means you haven't figured it out yet, and we're panicked about the pre-orders of Final Fantasy 16. That means that we're gonna shove more information about 16 down your throat. So those two things together just made me think we're not gonna see it. But Devin, you're still hopeful?
Yeah, I'm still hopeful, man. I saw something also. I'm not sure. This could have just been something doctor, but I want to say maybe like one of the producers or somebody they were asking a question of like, how is FF7 Rebirth going to play? And they were saying something about like an immersive, open environment, and somebody was like, it's open world or something like that. So I don't know if that's like giving more indication or like evidence that they might have something more solidified, ready to show. I still would like to see it. So I'm gonna say yes. They gotta show something. I mean, it ain't gotta be done crazy. I know 16 is just about to come out
right here,
but just give me something. Like, give me a morsel, man. Please, sir, spare some change.
You might get
some 7.
Like, I don't want how to rub the Square headquarters be like, please, sir, please, just a little bit, please.
I get it. I mean, like, I don't know. Like, I would have thought it would be at Sony Showcase, but
you can. All
right, Rakeem, it's your turn. Hades 2.
Ooh, it's been a minute, and to be honest, I'm kind of surprised there hasn't been any more information because Hades 1 had a rollout of early access directly after it was announced, and had a whole early access rollout for like 2 years. So you had constant information about that game. This game, they did the complete opposite. Game had that trailer, radio silence. So I guess they're a little more locked in for this game. I guess their funding's good, but maybe whatever they want to add, they want to keep it tight-lipped because they're going to be adding some new mechanics or new developments into the game. Maybe they don't want to get out yet. I could definitely see Hades 2 showing up at one of these conferences during Summer Games Fest because of how big profile Hades was. It's a game that's actually, the sequel is definitely going to be something that people are really want to see. And I could see it having a primary spot to like show how it's going to play, explain the mechanics and like the music. Music is such a big part of Supergiant games and like how they do their games, everything. And have like a system. They could have a band out there to introduce the game. I would not be surprised at all. So yeah, I expect to see Hades 2. Now, which conference, I'm not sure, but I think it would be in one of the general Summer Game Fest conferences, but it'll probably have a bigger time slot. That's what I would think.
Well, it was revealed during the Game Awards.
True.
So that makes it likely that if it was going to show up in June, it would be at the Summer Game Fest.
Yeah.
Jeff already has that relationship worked out. So, I
Right.
mean, like that's going to be your strongest chance there. So I've got my own list, and it's a little unfair, I admit, because, I made the list. Still, though, I gave
Dungeon
myself.
Master.
I in this instance, I am the Dungeon Master, and I also gave myself a little like I don't know about this game, and I don't care about it, but yeah. So I gave myself a little bit of a handicap as well. So, but the first game's not a handicap. First game's Transformers Reactivate. If you remember it was shown at the Game Awards. It was like the multiplayer game. It's being worked on by Splash Damage and some other studio that I'm blanking on right now, but Certain Affinity. and they may have moved on from it by now, and it might just be splash damage only. What's up?
Question. I've heard of splash damage. What are they known for? It's on the tip of my tongue.
Gears, I think. Don't make me lie to you though. Let me check that to be sure.
Okay.
Splash damage games. They did Wolfenstein, Enemy Territory. They've done a lot of like Gears multiplayer stuff. Gears of War multiplayer, Gears 5 multiplayer, Halo Chief, the Master Collection, PC version. So they do ports and shit like that. So I don't know. Like I was excited because I am a huge Transformers fan. My understanding of this game is that it's more along the lines of a Warframe type of game where you like can get other Transformers added to your little army over time and do quests and missions and level up. And I'm pretty excited at the prospect of that. I don't know if that's going to make it a good game, but I'm excited at the prospect. As far as whether or not we'll see it, man, this is one of those where like my heart says yes, but my mind tells me no. That game's going to wind up getting delayed because it was supposed to get like a little beta sometime in it was supposed to get a beta sometime in 2023, and we've heard no signs about it. Like there's been no, like basically we got that initial clip, which didn't show shit. It like you barely knew it was a Transformers game. I just kind of put it together because I was like being hopeful and shit. But I like even you go back and look at it, it's like you barely know this is a Transformers game. And so I'm like, all right, if you're that early on, I just don't see it. So I'm gonna say no. If I lose, of course I would have lost the point, but I'll be happy because I'll be like, okay, well, we got a chance to see the game. Will, you're up again.
All right.
Dragon Quest 12. Not 3 HD 2D remake.
I know
12.
what you mean. Okay, with Dragon Quest 12, that's a tough one. As much as I would like to say we would see something, I don't see that happening right now. That's a little later down the line. I'm gonna give that like to the latter, like the other part of this year, like the other half of this year. We'll see something then at some showcase whether there is one. Hell, it maybe even pop up at the Keeleys. So I'm just like, Dragon Quest 12 is not going to be shown this month, and if it does, then I'll eat that. If it shows up this month, I'll eat that, but I think it's a later time because they're still working on that. They say it's supposed to be a little bit darker, a little bit more mature compared to what we've seen in the past Dragon Quest games, and plus they got like I think an exclusive coming out to like the Switch. I think they have like a Dragon Quest Monsters game. I think they got that coming. So. Yeah, they got that coming out. So with that coming out on the side, and then this here, and I think they're trying to get us Dragon Quest X, but the offline version of it, we're gonna see that later. And I think Dragon Quest 12 is probably a 2024 game.
Yeah, I could see that being like the big TGS game.
That
for Square, if they did do it.
It could be.
TGS is always kind of inconsistent as to whether they're going to show like games or not. Like some years they show a bunch of really cool projects, and then some years they show dick. And so like you never really know what you're going to get. It's kind of a dice roll. And I don't know if this year is going to be like the good year or like one of the shit years. So we'll see. I don't think it's going to be here. I do want it to be here, but I think Square is probably focused on like, all right, look, we got to get this Final Fantasy 16 out. It's got to be a success. We need that. And then like also, I don't like since that game's not coming out this year, and they announced it in 2021.
Yep,
somewhere in like summer 2021, and it when it showed up, it got its own showcase, so that just makes me think like the folk. And then also they have that Dragon Quest Adventures of Die adaptation game they're doing.
Infinity Trash.
Infinity Trash. So it's I know that's not the title, but like they opened it up to that. I was like, Infinite Trash. Like, why would you? Never mind. I know the name of his attack is literally Infinity Trash, but I'm like, man, it just. You should have found a way to put slash in it. I don't know, but like,
I think I know what they were aiming for.
With that game coming out in August, I believe, worldwide, I think they'll just focus on that, and then also like. What we should be hearing about is Dragon Quest 3 HD 2D. So if I had to put my money on anything, I definitely want to see that. If I had to put my money on anything, it would be Dragon Quest 3 HD 2D that we saw. Terrence, you picked this in the fantasy draft. Pragmata.
I knew it.
Are we seeing it?
Pragmata, man, is it the new Deep Down or is it not? That's the question. I want to say, I'll put it this way. If it doesn't show up this month, I think that game got canned because either that or they just are going to change it. I don't know. It may be one of those games where they thought they were going to go in one direction with it, but they decided to go in another direction with it. So, man, I don't know. That's a tough one. I want it to be at one of the game shows this month, but I don't know. Since they announced Dragon's Dogma 2, they have Capcom. They announced Dragon's Dogma 2. They have Exoprimal on the way. That comes out in July, I believe. Yeah.
It feels like it's time, doesn't it?
It really feels okay. Because they announced the delay of that game back in 2022, and they haven't talked about it since. So
yep.
I feel like if you were gonna hear about it, now is the time. Because when was it announced? Was it announced at the Game Awards?
2020.
Game Awards?
Yeah, it was announced then.
It was 2020.
Or was that a PlayStation show?
It was at a PlayStation show, I believe. Because it was supposed to be like a PlayStation exclusive.
Now, see, that's the mix-up right there. Because if it's a PlayStation exclusive, then maybe Sony will save it for their showcase in September, whenever they do their next one. I'm going to make a bet and say it will not be at any of the events this month. I don't think it will be. I think that if it's going to show up, it's going to show up at a Sony event because Sony's probably kind of like hanging on to it. That and Capcom, they have a buddy-buddy relationship with PlayStation, so they like to show a lot of their games at their events first. So I think if it's going to show up anywhere, it has to be at a Sony event. So I'm going to say no to it being here this month.
By the way, I double checked. It first showed off in June of 2020, which would have been when PlayStation did its big PS5 reveal. I am actually gonna go counter to this one and say yes.
You think it will be there?
Really?
I think it's gonna be somewhere because, like, what is Capcom doing next year? Like, y'all still like, congrats, y'all on a great run, but you gotta publish something next year. So
I would say maybe Dragon's Dogma 2 is next year.
Yeah, maybe Dragon's Dogma.
You're gonna need more than one game. So what are we doing? Are we doing Dragon's Dogma and Monster Hunter, which would be weird?
Probably
like
Monster Hunter.
Single player.
There's a lot of rumors about Dino Crisis remake.
Yeah, there is that,
Resident Evil 9, baby.
I don't think
Resident Evil 9 is years off. Like, I checked on that. That's years off.
Okay.
So it's not Resident Evil. It's not Devil May Cry because they're working on the dude that working on Dragon's Dogma.
One or the other.
Right.
Yep.
Street Fighter's already out.
Street Fighter.
Like, you gotta put out something, and if it's coming out next year, I feel like you want to show that now, unless you want to do like a short reveal release cycle. But I don't know. I feel like that one's more like a yes.
Captain Commando.
Well, hey, I'll put it this way: if we do see it this month, hey, I'm completely down for that. It's just that I have my doubts, but hey, if it does show up, hey, I'm tuning in for it.
Fair enough. Devin, I'm gonna ask you about the hands. Is Fatal Fury gonna be anywhere in June?
Woo. I'm gonna say no on that one. I feel like because when they showed off, was it I think that the announcement about Garo and Fatal Fury.
Greenlit.
Yeah, and they've done this before. They just like, hey, you got a logo. I think they did it with KOF 15, if I'm not mistaken. Logo, got your logo, man. We ain't gonna show you a lot out right now. We ain't gonna show you a lot in the wild, but we got a logo. We had a designer make the logo, so hey, expect some hands. I don't know. Well, this is also a thing where, like, I guess SNK kind of the same question, like, what are they working on now that they've gotten KOF 15 out of the way?
What I was thinking.
Yeah.
What's that damn game?
They got all that blood money, so they gotta do something with it.
They've been using it too. I ain't gonna lie, they've been using it.
I swear they've been on it.
Yeah,
they've been writing them checks.
I just feel like I don't think we're gonna see it. I kind of wish that before now we would have seen more. Like I think all I remember seeing was a steal or something. Like rock with his jacket or something. It's like, we got it coming.
Yeah, that was it.
And I
so let me
just
ask you this: do you think that it's not here in June because it's at Evo, or do you just think we're not going to see it this year?
That could be a possibility. I'm not, because I've actually saw somebody on Twitter. I believe somebody said like, "Hey man, this is gonna be the Evo to be at." Like, and I'm assuming they're mentioning something like, of course, Street Fighter 6 is gonna be insane. But also, I'm thinking they were like alluding to maybe announcements, and I mean, it could be anything. People in that,
Rick.
Yeah, and I think
he said that.
A lot of people were thinking like, "Oh, Marvel 4." Like, and we at this point we really don't know what it could be. It could be Project L. It could be a lot of stuff that could
folks
be there.
sniffing that hopium for Marvel.
I was gonna say, man, get off that shit.
Nah, man, it's gonna happen, bro. I don't know what y'all talking about, man.
Look, Jack 4, I believe in. Marvel 4, I'm like, look, we a long way off.
If you nail Marvel 4, I'm gonna start calling you Brian Windhurst. I'm like, what's going on in Capcom?
And I really think if they were to be an announcement of Evo, not to say the SNK fighting games are not like popular, but I think they will probably be something bigger like Marvel 4 or Project Yellow or something. It will probably maybe something like a side thing, but I really don't see nothing on Fatal Fury coming out this month. Maybe later on in the year, but I just don't see nothing this month. They probably gonna give us another still image of like Kyo with fire on his hands.
Look, look, you get one
Fatal Fury, so there won't be no Kyo.
Well, that's right. They're gonna give us like a still of Terry just throwing his hat off. Like,
you get one still image per game reveal. After that, you got to start showing some hands. Or something.
It's gonna be a still image of him throwing his hat off really far. It's like, you see how far his hat away? That's how far this game is from being shown.
You get screenshots, still screenshots, like they punching each other. Oh.
That's fair. So I'm gonna put you down as a no and a maybe later this year. Rakeem, me and you talked about this game, and Rakeem like somehow magicked this game because I gave him the most vague of descriptions. We're gonna go a little indie now. I gave him the most vague of descriptions, and I told him I couldn't remember what the fuck this game was. And I think like 2 or 3 days later, he came back with the name, and I was like, yeah, that's the game. Rakeem, do you think we see Sacrifice this at sometime this June?
I don't know what's going on with Sacrifice. Because like we saw those trailers. I think they had one? Do they have 2 trailers or just 1 trailer?
I just know of the one.
The one. I don't know about Sacrifice. Who was the developer of Sacrifice? I don't know off the top of my head.
That's a good question.
Pixelated Milk.
Okay, this is probably a new developer or indie developer.
It's like an indie developer. Like it was originally a Kickstarter game. Okay.
Yeah. If I follow the Kickstarter, I probably have a lot more information for you. But I don't. So I don't know if this could actually this could be a good time for them to have a follow-up trailer. I don't know if we have a release date yet, but I could see them doing a follow-up trailer in one of these summer game releases because you guys know them indie games, they'd be sneaking up in some cute little indie RPG or some farm sim or whatever.
So here's the thing.
Yes,
one, this game was supposed to come out last year.
It was.
And got delayed. And so I don't think there's an official release year attached to it now. However, you know how I said there was like 8 or 9 showcases? Well, because it's an indie game, it can show up at any of them hosts.
Yeah, it can. That is true. You know what? Now that I think about it, there's a good likelihood they could have a follow-up trailer. Now, I don't know if it had a release date, but I could say Sacrifice could show up at one of these showcases. It has been enough time. With Kickstarter games, it's 75% of them are always going to be delayed past release date because these guys have either never completed a full game before, or they feature creep, or they vastly underrated how much time needed to be developed. I've only seen one developer announce a Kickstarter completed and then have the game out in 6 months. One in ever. Yeah, I think we could see it there. I would like to see it there. They had a very interesting battle system. The graphics in the world look really cool. It's very unique. For anybody who's watching the podcast, check out Sacrifice trailer. It has a very, this HD 2D thing is popping right now, baby. They rocking it. They rocking it everywhere you go, and it's giving indie RPG developers like, oh, we can put these games out and these can make some money now. So let me go ahead and put some more out here. So yeah, check out Sacrifice. It's a very unique style. I would like to see it at the showcases. And now that you mention it, we did see it last year. Was it last year or the year before last? I think it was 2 years ago.
2 years ago.
2 years ago. It has been enough time. We'll probably see a follow-up trailer. I don't know if we'll have a definitive release date. They'll probably have like a month or something.
Right.
Because Kickstarter games, usually they don't have everything figured. They just don't. It's the truth. It's okay.
I mean, that's facts.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of them turn out to be good though. So I mean, it's fine.
Yeah,
like
they
you
came out
can't
pretty well.
nail everything. Hell, I mean, last week we talked about how Sony, they can't get a release date on a game that's supposedly come out in 4 months. So
that's crazy. That's crazy. But yeah. I think I'm gonna say yes. I'm gonna say we will probably see Sacrifice as some kind of new trailer update this year.
All right. So I think it's my turn now. The next guest for me is Wonder Woman. Man, this is I've been going back and forth on this one since I like once I broke down who was gonna get what. I've been going back and forth on this fucking Wonder Woman game. So the last time we saw it, or the first time we saw it, was at the Game Awards 2021, and we haven't seen it since then. Like they haven't talked about it. Nobody's mentioned anything. But man, Warner Brothers really need to win, doesn't it? Like fucking Gotham Knights turned out to be not what people wanted it to be. Suicide Squad kills the Justice League. Everybody was already skeptical on the game, but they were like, Rocksteady gonna make it work. And then they saw it look like Destiny and King Shark using fucking guns and Captain Boomerang using fucking guns. And they were like, all right, what is going on right now?
Not to mention, like years ago, they had issues with the end of Shadow of War with all the DLC practices. We know Arkham Knight a long time ago didn't turn out the way they wanted it to turn out, as far as like the PC release was trash. And its reception wasn't that positive, probably the lowest reception of the entire series. So yeah, they really need a win. Of any developer, they definitely need a win.
So here's
they were talking about selling it.
They were talking about selling it, which is probably why we have Mortal Kombat 1 and not Injustice 3. So like, here's the thing. On the one hand, you would think that they would be one to hype up like Mortal Kombat and then maybe give another, well, probably not a trailer for Suicide Squad because they'd had to delay it, right? But like you'd want to we do know Warner Brothers is going to be at Summer Game Fest, so we know that. But they could just be there for Mortal Kombat. But here's the thing: the last time Monolith Software came out with a video game was 2017 with Shadow of War. That like 2018, 2019, 2020, 2021, 2022. How long is this game gonna take? If this game is a next year game, then that's like we probably need to start marketing that right now. Probably need to start showing that off right now. And so I'm going to say yes, even though my brain is like, I'm gonna get fucked. And it's what's gonna wind up happening is it shows up at fucking Game Awards or some shit. But like I'm gonna say yes right now, just because like I want this game to show up and it makes sense. It's pretty much time, I feel like. All right, Will. What's up, Terrence?
One thing real quick. Since we know they had the whole leak with WB with their internal meeting, is it surprising that they didn't mention it at all? Like they mentioned Mortal Kombat and they mentioned Suicide Squad kills the Justice League, but they didn't mention Wonder Woman at all. Is that surprising, or is that kind of like they just probably didn't care?
That leak was it was in reference to like that fiscal year, which of course would cover from March 31st of this year to March 31st of April 1st of next year. And so like they were just talking about games that were going to come out this. So like, of course they were going to talk about Suicide Squad because that was initially going to come out this year. And then of course they were going to talk about Mortal Kombat because that was supposed to come out and is going to come out this year. Wonder Woman had no shot of ever coming out this year. There was no reason to bring it up. It was an investor call. You would talk about that in the next year if it was going to come out next year.
Okay, makes sense.
So, but yeah, otherwise I would definitely be like, man, that's a good point. I'd be kind of concerned. Will,
what's up?
So, Persona 3 remake or Persona 6. I'm gonna give you two options. Do either of them show up?
The P3 remake has been in the rumor mill for quite a minute. Then there was the stuff we had come out that showcased that and Jet Set Radio and some other things that were gonna come out of Sega. There was that, so a part of me really, really thinks that would get some leeway first, because if me being a Persona fan, haven't noticed how they do things, because Persona didn't really get its big boost until 3 came out way back when. 3 came, and then they released the updated version with the epilogue called The Answer. And then we had '08 with P4. That's when it really skyrocketed. 4 years later, we got 12. I mean, 4 years later, we got 12. 4 years later, we got P4G on the Vita. And then we got P5, which ended up getting delayed numerous times. We ain't gonna talk about that. And then we ended up
Winter
getting
2013.
and then we ended up getting 5, and then we got the Royal, the anime, and Strikers, and all this other stuff. So right about now, 6 doesn't seem to be a thing I see coming because 5 isn't being done with the milking process. It isn't done.
Yeah, there's
We still need Persona 5 Arena.
Yeah, we still looking to hear about that.
Persona 5 Arena?
No, but there's a Persona 5T.
Yes, there's a
being
Persona
talked
5T.
about, and it's been said that it's not a fighting game. So we don't know what it is right now. But Persona 5T is like a game that's being worked on. So
yeah, they've had a rhythm
5T?
game.
Yeah, Persona
spill the
5T.
tea.
Yeah. So they've had P5. They've had the rhythm game. I think they crossed up. Did they cross over with Persona Q, the DS game, or was that before?
Oh, that was Persona Q2, and that was like the
Q2.
last 3DS game.
Right. Then they had the Dynasty Warrior style game.
That's Strikers.
And of course they had 5 Royale.
5 Royale, which is the updated version of it with all the new mechanics and the third.
I don't know what T gonna be.
No,
T gonna be a visual novel.
You know what time it is.
know.
T is it's time for the first person shooter Persona. Yeah.
Oh my god! Don't get me started there. We got a whole episode about that.
Final Fantasy. It would be Persona Dirge of Cerberus.
Oh no.
Oh
goodness.
no! Please don't.
But yeah, we got P5T, and we also got that mobile game that's in China right now, P5X, where it's basically like an alternate reality, and it's running like the crew with different personas, different looks and everything, different characters. I promise you, where they are.
And it's all. Let me guess. It's all canon. All of it.
I don't know. It might be the story.
I'm pretty sure the what is it? The Dynasty Warriors game.
Yeah,
that's
that one's
canon.
definitely.
That
That's
is
definitely canon.
Strikers is
It's a
canon.
battle royale. How much you want to bet Persona T?
I wouldn't
Battle Royale.
be surprised.
Now the question is, would you play it, Devin?
I don't know. Kind of got burned out on battle royale.
Really? If he burn out, it's over with.
Yeah,
I mean,
He's a battle royale guy.
You
But
used
my
up all
answer
your drive
is
meter?
yes,
Got him in the corner like this.
I was going to say
burned
it was a JoJo battle royale, but they already did it, and that looked like it was trash.
They did.
Damn.
They did
They
do
did, and it was in arcades.
Yeah.
But yeah, my answer is I think there's a slight, tiny possibility we may see something regarding P3 remake. There's a slight possibility. P6, if we see something about that, I will be completely flabbergasted because I'm just like, y'all are still running P5 dry right now, so I don't know what y'all be doing with a 6. So
Be the first.
P3
Be the first.
remake is
It'd be the first crossover Persona. It's gonna put the 5 characters in 6 too. While you playing 6, like this first one, we just blend the universes together. Don't even worry about it.
We decided to
yeah.
that Trails took from us. Now we gonna take from Trails. We gonna just go ahead and take characters and combine and make a Persona universe. All right.
Yeah, and all that.
So I do think that Persona 6 is probably a ways off.
Yeah.
I seen some basically that's probably at the end of the year or next year. But Persona 3 remake is almost assuredly going to be somewhere and probably at Xbox's show.
Maybe.
That's just what the scuttlebutt has been saying. So
Interesting for Xbox to have.
That's because Sega, right?
Yeah. It's because of Sega. Yeah.
It just said radio. Yeah.
my understanding is that Xbox is trying, or Sega is trying to go all in, or Atlas, I guess. Atlas is trying to go all in on multi-platform type stuff. To try to get their games to everybody.
Because a lot of this stuff is usually platform exclusive. Like when they started, it was at Nintendo. Then when they hopped to PlayStation, they were on PlayStation for a good minute. Then they hopped back to Nintendo for a while. Now they're back on PlayStation once again. So they've been kind of flip-flopping between those two. And then they finally started branching out a bit in the most recent years with those remasters of 3 and 4.
That sounds almost exactly like the Disguise series too.
Mm-hmm.
Look, games cost too much now. We can't be doing all this multi-platform. I mean, all this single platform shit. Like we need multi-plat to try to make as much money as we can. So, Terrence, it's your turn.
Let's go.
Hellblade 2.
You know what? that I'll put it this way, that needs to be at Xbox's show, because if that game isn't there, I don't know what Ninja Theory is doing. I don't know what Xbox is doing. Yeah, that game needs to be there. There's no reason at this point for it to, because let's see. The last time we saw something from it, like the gameplay premiere or
so
gameplay.
when we saw Hellblade, it was the same time that we saw Wonder Woman and Star Wars Eclipse at the Game Awards 2021. They showed them both, all three of them back to back.
There's no reason for that game to not be at Xbox's show. No reason whatsoever, unless something happened during development. They want to push it back a little bit more. Yeah, that has to be in Xbox's wheelhouse right now. They need some W's, and if that game doesn't show up, then there's gonna be more reason to like question Xbox's not integrity, but just like, yeah, what are you all doing?
Yeah,
like, do you all want to sell consoles or what? Like, what are you holding all this shit back for?
Do you want to win?
Game Pass.
I promise you, we stirring something up. We can't compete with PlayStation, man. So we got to hold on to what we got. Produce the best damn games we can produce, okay?
Game Pass.
And we'll release them all in 2026. Yeah.
Game Pass Omega.
Nobody gonna buy all them games in 2026. Like, you have 20 games
Ultimate.
They already have Game Pass Ultimate.
They do.
Oh, they do.
That's the one you gave like PC.
Omega.
That's the real. That's the real release date.
Epsilon.
How long until we get Game Pass 2?
Yeah. You can play Nintendo games.
I don't even want to know what comes with that.
It sounds like something. You get like Crunchyroll and like Nintendo Switch Online and something else. Like, I don't know.
That's where, bro. Mixture of things.
First five episodes of Bel Air free.
60. Give my money back.
Game Pass 2.
Nah, hey,
we actually have Overwatch's story mode. It's on Game Pass 2.
Oh damn! You might actually sell some if you do that.
I was gonna say, you definitely sell some if you do that. Shit.
Half-Life 3 on Game Pass 2.
Yeah, but that game has to be at the Xbox show. Like, if it isn't, I'd be shocked. Really shocked.
I'm of the opinion that game comes out this year.
It should.
Like December. They
As
just
long
hit
as
you
it
with
is.
like a surprise, like it's coming out December or something like that. It just feels like it has been long enough. When I brought up those 3 games, like when you think about it, Hellblade showed like an extended gameplay look. Supposedly it was gameplay. Wonder Woman, all they showed was like a fucking logo. And Star Wars Eclipse, they showed like a little cinematic. So like clearly of those 3 games, Hellblade was the furthest along. It's been 2 years. Like it's time. So, Devin, you asked about this last week, and so now I got to see your opinion. It wouldn't be since it's supposed to be connected to Sony, but I mean, Sony already dropped the ball. Does Lost Soul Aside find a way to be shown somewhere next month?
Man. That is a good one because
That's a super good one.
there was footage of that. That was a trailer for that, I think last year, I believe.
I believe so.
Last year. Man, it feel like it's been forever since this game was like first announced.
Yeah.
It's almost feeling like Final Fantasy 13 versus again. Like it's gonna be that 20, 30 by the time this game come out.
What the art style kind of inspired by Final Fantasy 13 versus 2?
I think it was 15.
It was more inspired about 15.
Yeah,
about 15. Same thing.
Yeah, pretty technically, yeah. Because I mean that's what the game turned into.
Yeah.
This is an interesting one because this is another one of those games like you get piecemealed a little bit and then it just silence, like radio silence. Like we've gotten like gameplay trailers on it, but when we got like a pretty like one of the last trailer was a pretty extensive trailer, like showing
17 minutes.
Yeah, it was pretty a lot of the footage. They had like showed like a boss fight, traversing through the environment and stuff like that. I think like some transformation at the end, like with your little dragon avatar, whatever the thing is your weapon. I don't know. It just keep going dark, man. I think we have a good chance of seeing because it's been so long. At this point, if this game don't come out in like the next few years, I feel like it's literally a fantasy.
Game.
It's a fantasy. Like it's
Yeah.
based off. If it's based off Final Fantasy, it's a fantasy because like it ain't gonna come out. Man, I
Hey,
wish
do you
Soul
feel-
Styles come out? It's a fantasy.
Devin, do you
You
feel
and
like
Mr.
that
Krabs?
game? Do you feel like
What's
that
up?
game specifically might have been a victim of feature creep? Because we know it first started off with one person, and now it's had a publisher behind it.
Yeah.
So obviously, have more resources behind it. You think that could have been a case of like the original vision was one scale, but now we had a publisher behind it. They scaled it up a little bit more with more funding behind it, and that's a part of the reason it got delayed because just the scope
Wanted
has
to
been
add
increased
more.
substantially.
That's actually a good point you make. 'Cause I forgot about that. It was with just one guy who was actually doing a phenomenal job with what he had at first. And if you look, I hadn't watched the original trailers in a while, like the footage, but if you look at those, for what I can remember, it does have a slightly different feel. Like almost what it was going for. It looks kind of pretty much the same, but like you said, it do not have like resources to actually put behind the game. So I think that could be a good reason why it may have been going dark. Like it was one person working on it. Okay, now we got a team, we got assets, we can do this, that, and the third. So that's gonna take more time. Like the game looks better than what it did at first too. So I mean, now with visuals and stuff like that, it's like there's a lot going on, particle effects and all this stuff. So that probably is a good explanation why we probably being dark. But I would like to see like this at PlayStation showcase, not showcase, but like their next showing of whatever they got cooking, because hopefully it's not what we got from the showcase.
So what you're saying is it won't be. You think it's going to be somewhere like later in the year?
Yeah, I think it's gonna be like not this month. I don't think
Okay.
we see Lost Soul later on in the year. That's what we got. Set
So
aside, Lost Soul aside.
So the last time we saw it was December 2022. So
Yep,
like
last year.
basically 6 months ago.
Yeah. So yeah, like I said, it hadn't been long.
And before that, it was like, 2021, sometime in 2021. So it has been kind of consistently showing up. But I mean, that just raises the question, when are you coming out? And I think Rakeem has raised a great point as far as like feature creep, because I feel like one of y'all at one point said something about it being like a boss rush game, but it clearly has like more of a narrative and story to it now. So I don't know. I think that's out the window, and it's like a full length JRPG now, or JRPG style game now. So I feel like that's where we at. Rakeem, me and you, we both played this game. I feel like this game, it's time, but this is that's why I gave it to you. Dragon Age Dreadwolf.
Man, so
You realize
I
it's
think-
almost a decade now.
yeah, it's been almost a decade, and we know a part of that was because of the Anthem fiasco.
Yep.
That just almost tanked that studio's reputation, and of course the Mass Effect stuff too. But they don't really work directly with Mass Effect, but it just feels like, I don't know. It just feels like this is the last chance they got.
Oh yeah.
Before something drastic happens. And I think because of those leaks that came out earlier this year, we saw like some snippets of gameplay.
We did.
See, like the focus is a little different, more focused on a singular protagonist, more action gameplay. With that kind of change, it's probably going to take. That's probably why it's taking so long for it to kind of cook, because they're kind of building it without the foundation. I'm assuming they're not using Frostbite engine anymore.
No, they're in Unreal now.
Unreal, yes. Okay, thank God. We had a whole me and Sage had a whole conversation about how the woes of development because of Frostbite. There are several YouTube videos that actually chronicle that and talk about the information. That is in great detail, actually. A lot of videos about that on YouTube you can find, detailing the development of Dragon Age, the series Dragon Age Inquisition, and why it's had woes up and down. Man, something's telling me, I don't know. Something about this game got me feeling kind of. You ever had the hair on your neck raising a little bit? Like, shit, I'm getting something ain't right. It just feels like something ain't
Spidey
right.
sense going off.
Yeah. Don't get me wrong. I remember when Dragon Age Inquisition came out. Like, now it didn't take nearly as long as this game, but I remember when it came out, like they did a very similar rollout where they showed like, oh, here's a screenshot. Oh, here's people in armor. Here's a panorama of like some trees, and here's a dragon. And this is kind of like that. Like they'll tell the little information is like little Squid Bits, and I hate that. Sage hates that. But personally, I don't think it's gonna show up here. I don't know. Something's just telling me. Now that leak came out earlier this year, so that's a good indicator that this definitely being worked on, but it looked really early. So I don't know if they're ready to just go ahead and like give a full demonstration yet. What do you think, Sage?
Well, the game was rebooted at one point because it was supposed to be more of a games as a service type of project, and
my God.
much like every other, yeah, I know, right?
Oh boy,
much like every other developer around, they was like, this shit ain't working, and so maybe we should do something else. But what I feel like I recall is that, well, one, we know it's not coming out this year, so that's but I feel like I recall hearing that the game is basically content complete. And so it's just polishing now. So just like polishing and editing. So like it's in like the alpha complete stage and shit like that. And so like, I don't know, like the footage that leaked may not be from the most recent build.
That's true.
So
that's also true.
It could easily be, some shit that leaked from like a 2-3 years old build and it looked incomplete because you like, well, yeah, that's what it's gonna look like. But like, other than that. Now, my thing is this, as far as like whether or not I think it's gonna be there. I think if it's coming out next year that it should be there. But EA has always been, and by the way, EA is not doing a showcase, which in itself says a lot. Because they'll put together a showcase with just 2 or 3 games and then just shove Madden down your throat for 10 minutes. So, but like EA has this habit of doing like really short reveal release cycles or like gameplay release cycles. So we already know the game exists, and so like they have this habit of being like, look, man, when the year out from the game, we'll show you what the game looks like. And so we know it's not coming out this year, and it's like. We know it's not coming out this fiscal year. So we're talking April 2024 at the earliest. That being the case, that makes me think like, well, fuck, you probably delay that shit until like the fall. And if it's the fall, do you not just wait until like next year to show it off or wait until like the Game Awards? But I do feel like it should be there. But I don't know. I mean, like the only place it would be, unlike a lot of the other games that we've talked about, the only place this could, well, nah, that's not true. It could be at the Xbox Game Showcase, and it could be at Summer Game Fest, but I don't think it can be anywhere else, unlike something like Sacrifice, which could be anywhere. Yeah. So I think you're not too far off with the no, just because, like, I don't know, I feel like they might wait until the Game Awards, because, like, that's usually where they show up. That's where Dragon Age 4 was revealed the first time. That's where that little clip of Mass Effect was shown off. Yep. So, like, I don't know, like, maybe, probably right, bro. It bums me out, but you're probably right.
It bums me out too, Sage.
I've been wanting
Hopefully that prove us wrong.
I know, right?
Prove us wrong.
I've been wanting a Western RPG that wasn't like isometric for like ages now, and like I don't know if I'm getting one anytime soon. It's my turn. I'm up again. I gave myself Star Wars Ubisoft or Star Wars Eclipse. Star Wars Eclipse is almost, I don't want to call it vaporware. What's the step below vaporware?
Below vaporware?
Yeah, right. Well, not
cancel. Cancel.
Battle Royale.
Hilarious. What's a step above vaporware? Then I guess is what I'm trying to say.
What, abandonware?
Development hell.
Development hell. That's it.
You said what?
Development hell. Development hell is the right way. That's the way.
I feel like Star Wars Eclipse is in dev hell. Like, I don't know, like everything I heard about it was a mess. People didn't want to work at Quantic Dream because David Cage is an asshole. So like, I think that game, they said it was at earliest we'd see it was 2025, potentially 2026. If that's the case, there's no chance we see that game this year. So like, I feel like that game's not happening. Star Wars Ubisoft, on the other hand, the rumor is
Ubisoft Contras.
Yeah, the rumor is that that's gonna be one of their games for this fiscal year. So probably not November, but potentially like January, February, March. That's one of their games. What's up?
They need this bad.
So here's the thing with Ubisoft.
Yeah.
I agree. I 100% agree. Here's the thing with Ubisoft. Skull and Bones is gonna suck.
Yep.
Like they showed that game off in 2017. It was supposed to come out in 2018. It's been 6 years since then. Like in that time, they could have took the game apart, put the game back together, added a single player campaign like everybody wanted them to, and it probably could have been all right. But they didn't do that, and so that game's gonna suck. But I feel like they could easily turn things around with like just a few games. Assassin's Creed Mirage, if that's well received. Avatar Frontiers of Pandora, if that's well received. The Division Heartlands, if that's a solid build on the Division, it's like differentiates itself from the Division, but it's still like a solid game. Assassin's Creed Project Red, if that's any good, and then Star Wars Ubisoft. Within a matter of about a year and a half, so like from now until next Christmas, within a matter of about a year and a half, and also Immortals Phoenix Rising 2, which I heard was in development. If they put out all those games and they're all good, you could easily have your turnaround. And they desperately, like Rakeem said, need that turnaround. And they need to show off as many games as they can to let everybody know, look, we're not dead. We're not fucking up. Like, we back on track. We stop fucking up, y'all. We want to let y'all know we stop fucking up. And I'm hoping desperately that Star Wars Ubisoft, like whatever that game winds up being called, whatever it winds up being about, it's from the people that's making the Division. So I'm picturing some type of open world type game where you just can pick a character and go different worlds and shit like that. I'm picturing some shit like that. If that's what we get, I feel like that could be good. And I'm excited to see whatever it is. But yeah, I'm going to say Star Wars Ubisoft is there. I don't have another name. Like, we don't have a real name for it. So I just,
we don't know what type of Star Wars game is going to be. It's going to be more of a war style game. It's going to be more bounty hunter type thing. Jedi. We don't know nothing. Yeah.
None of that shit. I think they done with battle royales. Like,
please, God.
In fact, I want to say Ubisoft canceled like 4 or 5 battle royales. Like, no, they canceled. So I think that what they were doing, they were prototyping a bunch of them, and then I think they canceled all of them.
Yeah, a lot of them were Creed projects, weren't they?
A couple were Creed projects, a couple were some other things, but they were all in like early prototype. We still thinking about it. We're still trying to figure it out. And I think they had like a dozen of them they were working on, which only one of them was probably going to make it to finish anyway. But I think they just gave up on all of them. Was just like, hey, man, this shit ain't working out.
Did that Star Wars Hunters game ever come out?
That phone game? No, it's not out.
That was a console. Star Wars Hunters. That was like was it Nintendo?
Was that the flying game?
The multiplayer game?
This was I think it was multiplayer.
The PvP multiplayer, that's for mobile.
Hunters?
Yes.
Yep.
Wow. I
mobile.
Launching on Switch. Launching on Switch, iOS, and Android.
Okay, I knew,
literally
I
both.
The Switch. Okay,
it's both.
Okay, then.
Comes out sometime this year. So
yeah, I checked up on that like a month ago. That's why I remember it.
Good research. All right. Will.
What's happening, Chief?
Eiyuden Chronicle. Keep in mind that game's supposed to come out this year.
I know it. I know it is, and I know you've been looking forward to it too. So
please come out.
I know you have. So okay, with it being one of them Kickstarter games, and Kings know this problem very well, just like he said earlier. You kind of just don't know when it's gonna pop up. It's just kind of like they're gonna have delays here and there.
I'm waiting on one right now.
So I feel like now it's time. We need to see some. Eiyuden Chronicles Rising has already happened, and it'd be going on like stupid deep discount as of right now, like from the prices that's like for like $350 or something like that. So at this point, y'all gotta tell us something. Like, it's supposed to be out this year. Just show us something, give us a date, so that way we can be concrete about it and see it pop up in the stores so we can buy it. It's time. So this month there should be something, especially because it's a Kickstarter game, quote unquote indie. So it has to appear. If it doesn't somehow, then they really missing the point here on that game. They really are.
So I'm gonna say yes. I agree with Will. I don't think it comes out this year. I think they wind up slapping a release date on it that says something like February 2024 or something like that. But
winter 2023.
Oh my God. If I see that one more time, I'm gonna throw something somewhere.
We'll have to drop an elbow on these folks about that winter 2023 shit.
Man,
for real.
Japan specifically. Stop telling me some shit coming out in winter, bro. That's not what you mean. Like you mean
Winter.
the next year. That's what you mean.
Yeah,
They
winter
mean
coming from
winter
Mars,
is coming.
apparently.
So you just gonna have to wait for it.
I don't want winter to be coming. I need winter to be here. Show me something. Give me the game.
Yeah, give me the game. But I do think it's gonna be here. I do think it shows up at Microsoft's show or Xbox's show because like they have some type of marketing deal with them. So I feel like it shows up there. We maybe get a release date, but that release date is not this year. That's what I think. But I am with you that it shows up. It has to. It's already been delayed. Y'all said it was coming out this year. You got to show us something. Terrence, Death Stranding 2, what do you think?
Man. So that game, I know it was at the Game Awards. Yeah, I know Jeff Keighley and Kojima, they're buddy. So I guess it depends on if there's anything new to show with that game. The only thing is, with Death Stranding, it feels like the campaign for the previous game, they just showed us a bunch of like cutscenes and narrative stuff up until like the very last minute of its release, and then we found out, oh, it's just an Amazon simulator. I mean, I know there's more to it than that, but that was the joke at the time. And I don't know. I guess it could show up here. It could show up at the Summer Games Fest, but I'm almost more inclined to say it will show up at the Game Awards. It really just depends on how far along they are in development and when it's supposed to release, because they didn't give a release window at all, did they?
Not that I know of, no.
It's probably a 2024 game. I'm going to say, you know what? Yeah, you know what? I think it'll be at Summer Game Fest. Yeah, let's just say it'll be there. Part of me wants to say that it'll be at the Game Awards instead, but I think it's a strong possibility of it being at the Summer Games Fest. So yeah, let's go for it. I think we'll see it.
The one thing I'll say is that Kojima has this thing where he just like can put out. First off, he put out that game way faster than I thought he was going to put it out.
Yeah,
I think they announced it in like 2016 and it came out by 2019. I'm like, whoa, this is way quicker than I thought. The other thing is, he did have a habit of just showing a bunch of random trailers, and every time it was like a new, different trailer than the last. So I'm like, oh, I mean, I guess. So I could easily see it showing up here. The only reason why I could see it showing back up at the Game Awards is just because, like, annual and just keeping it consistent across like when it shows up. So I don't know. I feel like that's but I feel like yes is a good answer though. Hey, Devin, you think Fable's gonna be there?
It's actually interesting you say Fable because me and my brother were actually talking about the original, like the OG Fable earlier. We were talking about a lot of older games and nostalgia and stuff like that. And Fable 1 was a freaking awesome game, man. Now, I think the last thing they showed us of this fabled Fable was like a CG trailer, like a fairy or something, if I'm not mistaken. I'm like, yeah, bruh. Like, again, we talked about this before. I think I said this on the last podcast, one of them. These doggone CG trailers, man. Like, I get it. Okay, I get it. There's a formula to it. Sometime when the game first showed off, give a teaser. Okay, it makes sense to do CG, right? But just like a fairy, like off in a grassland, what does that tell me? I want to see some swords, something like. And I get it. It's supposed to maybe be up for interpretation. Now I'm kind of like Terrence with this one. If I feel like this is one, if you don't show this at some point, like what you're doing, Xbox, what you're doing, because again, this is another staple game of Xbox. This was a very like good game on OG Xbox, and it just kind of died off as like the lifeline of the lifespan of the Xbox consoles went on. And I feel like if we could get a new good Fable on a current Xbox console, that could be a big win for Xbox. But I feel like this is another one that we'll probably see later on in the year, man. I just don't see this being shown this month.
Well, there have been some hints that Fable might be here
at this month.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, keep in mind this is their show. Like, they not like Sony. Sony, like, Sony will show up and it's possible we get another Sony showcase in like October or something or September. That ain't happening with Xbox. Like, Xbox doesn't do that. They show up once a year. They give you what they're gonna give you, and then they disappear. So I don't think there's no other spot later in the year. So if it was me, I'd just say yeah and just say like, oh, okay, it'll just be here as opposed to like at the Game Awards or something like that.
Yeah, I still have a little faith in him. I guess it's part of me is biased because I just hate how that series just died off. So I care, but I care, but it's like, man, y'all just gave me y'all gave me Tinkerbell on the last one, man. I need more than that, bro.
It's been 2 years, but I mean, they did say it was fairly early, so I don't know. Maybe you're right. Rakeem, Crimson Desert.
Now look, man.
Hey, one of these games got to be good and got to come out and be good. Besides Genshin Impact.
Look, man. I had my doubts about Crimson Desert after I looked at that trailer for the second time. I was like, this frame rate is like
abysmal.
Dying.
Yeah.
In a trailer. And that's like that's something you can doctor very easily.
Man, you know what? If it came out and it was a good game, I'd be like, hats off to y'all. Y'all showed us how the game really looked before y'all got it. It was like, we ain't doctoring nothing. It looked like trash. When we finish, it's going to look good.
Was it worse than the Babylon's Fall trailer?
Yes.
It's pretty bad.
It looked great, but like the game itself, like the stuff that was going on looked crazy, but like the frame rate.
Frame rate's the issue. The graphics look fine. It's the frame rate specific.
Okay, well, okay. Because Babylon Fall, everything was just like trash. Just
this actually looks good.
They could just film the trash can for that Babylon's Fall trailer. That would have been the equivalent.
Clearly, they got rid of it real quick. But yeah, going back to the Crimson Desert question. I actually played Black Desert for a little bit. It didn't really grab me, but I remember they had very good combat and there was some good ideas there with how they approached the MMO genre differently. You see, they approached it with like an enormous amount of character classes, way more than any other MMO usually out there. I think they're getting up to what 20 now or something like that, maybe above that at this point. It's up there. It's a high amount of character classes, and they're very unique, almost like a hero shooter would announce characters, very similar to that. And also Crimson Desert caught my attention because it reminded me a lot of how, as far as like the action orientedness and how you were playing like a role-playing style like universe, but the action and the adventure was like high tempo, really interesting, dynamic, and would appeal probably to a broader audience in general because of how it looked. That frame rate was rough though. We haven't heard anything for that. Was this 2 years ago? Or was it last year?
I think 2 or 3 years ago. I think like 2020 was the last time.
I can believe it because I'm not gonna lie to y'all, man. I did not realize how long 2020 was ago because I remember stuff vividly from 2020. I thought happened like 6 months ago. And no, it's been 3 years, buddy. So yeah, I think it's just been longer than I expected for Crimson Desert to be announced. I don't know what's going on with the development of this game.
Fixing that damn frame rate.
They probably are fixing that damn frame rate. I'm gonna go on a limb and go ahead and say we could see it at the Game Awards this year.
Okay, let me help you out.
What's up?
The what's the word I'm looking for? The exhibitors or like the people that are supporting Jeff, like all the developers and publishers that are supporting Jeff. That's already been announced. One of them is Pearl Abyss.
Yeah, it's gonna be Crimson Desert.
There
if it's not Crimson Desert, it's gonna be a Black Desert character, which I doubt because they announced the character like a month or two ago. So yeah, it's probably gonna be Crimson Desert. So I would say it's about time. I mean, if you want to put this game out, it's probably time to get that ball rolling. I don't remember exactly. Was this just a separate action adventure RPG? Or was this another MMO game?
So at first they kind of marketed it as like an MMO, but then later on they clarified and said, no, this is single player. You'll just be playing by yourself. You're set in a world. It's like a story and all that type stuff. So it's supposed to be just like a traditional type RPG. So
that's probably a good idea for them to branch out that way since they already have an MMO. Basically reverse Blizzard, where they started off as like just doing tactics games, and they got an MMO and like fuck tactics game. We're just gonna do MMOs.
What works?
They were like, hey, we got an MMO now. We can do other stuff. Kind of like League of Legends is doing now. Like, hey, we had League of Legends for 10 years. We can make other games now. It's okay.
Can indeed make other games. All right. So I agree with you. That's why I was like, let me help you out. Because like when I seen Pearl Abyss was gonna be there, I'm like, I don't know what the fuck else y'all got. And like this game is supposed to be, I mean, like it should have been out by now. Like the game was supposed to come out in 2021 and it didn't. And so it got pushed back like twice. Well, not twice. It got pushed back 2 years effectively. And so like it's still not out. I don't know if that game comes out this year or early next year, but I do think we see it. I do think we get another look at it. I hope to God it doesn't look as bad as it, like frame rate wise, as bad as it did last time. Because the game itself, like the world and the environment, looked amazing. It looked like a game that I could spend like lose hundreds of hours to. It looked like like the I don't want to say an evolution of The Witcher, but it did give me kind of those vibes. And so like I'm really hoping it's there. It's up to me now, and my curveball is next, but we gonna save that. It's just gonna be a curveball round. So the next game for me is Beyond Good and Evil 2.
Good luck on that one, sir.
Hey man, it's as fuck no. Like you know it sucks. I really want that game, and I think I'm the only person online that actually wanted that game because it just looked cool, looked fun, and like the weird thing was at first they were showing like consistent updates for it. Like every 6 months to a year, they'd be like, hey, here's another trailer. Hey, here's another trailer. And then I don't know what happened. I think like right around 2019, it was like, all right, look, we actually got to get to work on this fucking game. And then like since then, we ain't seen shit. The director, the guy that was over it, Michel Ancel, who also does who did Rayman, I believe. Like he left the company. Potentially he was forced out, but we don't want to talk about that. He dipped on out, and so now they're like, well, I mean, what are we doing with this game? And I'm like, yeah, what are you doing with this fucking game? But like, I suckers bet to say that like there's no way that you could get me to bet yes on this. Like, I know that Ubisoft desperately needs a win, and I don't know if any of y'all remember, Ubisoft 2017 had a conference that was just like out of this world. They just showed off game after game, just banger after, because they were trying to avoid being bought by Vivendi. And so like it's just banger after banger. It was like The Crew 2, Starlink, Beyond Good and Evil, Assassin's Creed Odyssey, and it was like 2 or 3 other games there. And I was like, holy shit, this is a lot of fucking games. And it was a lot of different types of games. And I was like, good for y'all. And they've never had a conference like that since. And I think even if they were trying to do another conference like that, Beyond Good and Evil 2 still wouldn't be at that bitch.
It wouldn't be there.
Because I heard some shit like, oh, it's early in development. I'm like, bruh.
Early in development?
That's what I heard.
Coming 2027. Let's go.
I'm like, this game was it was announced years ago, but y'all said y'all were seriously starting on it in 2017. Bro, it's 2023 now. It's time for that game to come out next year. What's going on, Rakeem?
I remember watching development videos on that game on YouTube years ago. Outside of trailers, they just show like, hey, here's an environment. This was like moving vehicles in the sky and how combat would look like in the sky and stuff, and like your character in this level. And they had like thorough development updates years ago.
Yeah, that was 2018, 2019. That's what I was talking about.
To hear that, it's still in development sounds like y'all rebooted it. That's what that sounds like.
I mean, anytime your creative director leaves, that's what happens.
I was just going to ask, do you think that maybe it got a little too ambitious? It's like one of those projects that had to be kind of like reeled in a little bit, maybe?
You know what's funny? I do think that even though I thought they were one of the few space games that had like a reasonable scope, because it wasn't like it wasn't set like Starfield, like, oh, you can visit 1,000 planets. 990 of those are going to be disappointing. 10 of those planets will be good, and the other 990 will be procedurally generated.
Like Devin said, they're going to be 1,000 glitches.
1,000 glitches.
You know what's funny?
What's up?
I was literally about to say that. I was like, y'all know what I said about Starfield?
Oh yeah,
like,
remember.
Our minds were linked. That's what you can find that game.
It's one of the best moments on this show, so I definitely remember.
God, that was so funny.
Man, it was funny. Is that going to hurt that game's reviews? No. But is it like likely? Yes. But like Beyond Good and Evil, it had like a much more reasonable scope. It was supposed to be set in like one single solar system with, I think, 4 planets to it. And so that should have been enough to be like, all right, well, we just going to have 4 planets. You'll be able to visit, pieces of the 4 planets. And then that's it. Kind of like Star Wars Jedi Survivor. How many planets you go to in that, Keen?
It's about including Tantalor at the end, about 4 or 5. Yeah.
So
One
like
was a moan, but yeah.
An open world version of that. That's what should have been. And I think somewhere along the line, they got greedy. They tried to figure out how they could fit monetization in there, I'm sure. And it just, anytime your creative lead leaves, it's going to lead to some problems. So I'm going to say no. I think that game shows up either next year or the year after. But right now, I think that game is a ways off. And, all right.
Unfortunately.
Yeah, very unfortunately, because I really like the game as it's been shown. I've been pretty into it. Like, I liked everything that I've seen. So maybe we get something like that. Maybe they go back and make Bianca and Evil 1 part 2, and I lose all interest. Now it's time for the curveball round. I'll give you some information about the game that you're going to find out about. I will tell you the last time it's seen. If you know about it, that will probably help, but you may not. All you got to do is give me a yes or no. This is basically, if you get it right, I'll give you 2 points.
Okay.
Will.
I'll tell you.
Sin Duality, Echo of Ada. This was the mecha game that was introduced at a Sony press conference, I think sometime last year.
Oh.
It was set in like this it was set in like a post-apocalyptic type area. It was like hundreds of years into the future. You basically worked with like a computer, an AI computer piloting a giant robot. It's being made by Bandai Namco. It was supposed to come out this year.
Right.
Do you think we see it again? Because we haven't seen it in like a solid year, I believe.
I'm thinking we're gonna see it again, just not this month because I recognize it now. I went and looked at a picture of it. I'm like, I recognize the name, but I was like, what is it? Then I see it. I'm like, okay, I get it. I think we see it again, just not this month. Okay. It's gonna be later. It's gonna be later because if we seen it last year and they showed us something and we seen things, but it's supposed to be this year and we ain't seen nothing yet. I got a feeling it's gonna be much later in the year. It's gonna be much later in the year, or maybe just a couple months after this month. After this month passes, we're gonna see something.
I mean, it could easily pop up at because Jeff Keighley also does Gamescom opening night live, and he does game reveals there too. So it could be there.
Right. It could be there.
All right, that's fair. Terrence, it's a super curveball for you. Assassin's Creed Project Red. So if you don't remember this game, it's the game that's supposed to come after Mirage. It's supposed to be the next big RPG version of Assassin's Creed. And so like it's already been plotted out. It's not a rumor that like this game was like they did an Assassin's Creed showcase last year and they told you in order it was going to be Assassin's Creed Mirage, Assassin's Creed Red, which is going to be set. This is the one that's set in Japan.
Okay, I was just going to ask that. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, you're going to be a ninja and shit like that. And then Assassin's Creed Hex, which is like the Salem, not Salem witch trials, but like German holy witch trials. Is a different era. But like for you, it's just Assassin's Creed Project Red. Do you think Ubisoft focuses solely on Mirage, which is coming out this year, or do they try to sneak in Project Red to get like a few extra brownie points? Like, oh yeah, we also got this one coming out.
Do you think is Red supposed to come out next year?
Yes.
I'll say Ubisoft has their own show, right?
Yes.
I would say yes. Maybe like a teaser for it. Maybe, I don't know, it could be simple as like concept art, some kind of CG trailer, something like that.
Hell, they could, if it's coming out next year, they could do full gameplay. So
yeah, I guess that's true. Yeah, I guess it's not unfounded or like weird to have two Assassin's Creed games kind of like going on together like that, because I'm pretty sure that's been done before. Excuse me.
They've got
they had like Rogue in another game, major game.
Syndicate.
Yeah, Syndicate and another one. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Those two were going on at the same time. So I think it's possible. Yeah, if it's supposed to come out next year, especially if it's supposed to come out, well, usually Ubisoft games like what? It's like the fall. Is that usually when they? Yeah.
November usually. For
October, November, right? Somewhere up in there. Yeah.
Yeah, I think. I mean, why not? Why show it anywhere except at their own show? So it's like, why waste your time holding it back for like the Game Awards or something like that? So yeah, I think it could be the Ubisoft show. I mean, why not? I mean, hey, if they need to do something along the lines of what you were talking about with 2017, then hey, pull out all the stops.
Like they do kind of need that run back. And then I mean, like this could always be, remember. I'm sure all of us remember Watch Dogs, like when they first showed that off.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
It just kind of popped up at the end of their show, and it was just like, hey, we got this coming. And it could be like that. Hopefully, it's not as disappointing as Watch Dogs was. I like Watch Dogs, but a lot of people were disappointed by the graphics and shit. So I understand. Hopefully, it's not like that, but I do see it as being like an end of the show. Like, hey, get excited for this type.
It's kind of like a one more thing kind of announcement.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, I could totally see that.
Yeah.
Devin, your curveball is Contraband. If you don't remember Contraband, it's being made by Avalanche Studios. They made Rage. They've also Rage 2. They made Rage 2. They also make Just Cause. It's supposed to be an Xbox game. They showed it off at Xbox 2021 showcase. It's like set in the 1970s. It's like a co-op game. They really didn't show much of anything. It was a really stylish 70s trailer. They had like some Steely Dan playing in the background. Looked really cool. But they didn't show any gameplay. Do you think we see it here now that Xbox kind of needs to show off as much as possible?
I'm actually looking at this. I think I vaguely remember this game. The name definitely sounds familiar. I would say this is something they probably have to show off just because I mean what we've seen like from the Xbox showcase, like the developer direct, was just mainly stuff we kind of already knew about, like Forza, Starfield. So to show something that's like a newer IP coming to their console, I think it'd be a very good idea to show this and soon, as soon as possible, honestly. I feel like, as we talked about last episode, Xbox if they have a chance now to kind of make up some ground, show some stuff, throw that little left hook in there, hit them in the kidneys a little bit. They can do that, show off something new if it's actually something like, hey, this looks like some people want to play. I mean, pretty interesting name. The style of it looks pretty interesting. Kind of a little. Let me look back at this. I want to say it's a little LA. I don't want to say maybe LA Noir-ish kind of.
I wouldn't say that because it's set in the 70s, and LA Noir was set in like the 20s and whatnot. So,
well, I guess just the visual style, like the art style of it, kind of looking from this, at least from this CG trailer, not like the setting, I would guess. But yeah, I mean, another co-op game, it might be something pretty decent. And like I said, if it's something that like people shows interest, I think it's good. Like, show off something new, show some good gameplay, because we just got the little CG at first. So yeah, you can show this in the next few months. You got something new, got something fun coming. Hey, Xbox, you got something to look forward to. And I'm pretty sure a game like this will probably be available on Game Pass. So
I mean, it's a first-party game. Like, even though Avalanche is working on it, it's still a Xbox game, so it would definitely be on Game Pass.
Yeah.
Rakeem, this one may be a curveball for you. It may not be. Everywhere. That's the game being worked on by one of the former Grand Theft Auto creators. It's supposed to be like a mix between like a make your own world type game, but then also it has its own campaign that it's selling to you.
Yeah, I think I remember seeing that trailer, but man, I didn't remember anything about this. It's one of those games I just didn't follow up on after I saw the trailer, which is unlike me because I like to know everything about every game I come in contact with. I'm gonna say
last time it showed up. Last time it showed up was yes, Build a Rocket Boy, I think is the name of the studio. Last time it showed up was
Gamescom, right?
Yes.
I know, right? Just like
just everywhere. Yeah, I don't know about this game specifically.
It's supposed to come out this year.
It's supposed to come out this year? Oh, it's gonna show up then. If it's coming out this year, it ain't got no choice. It's gonna show up at this conference in some kind of way.
Because they need the press.
Yeah, they need the press. If it was coming out next year, I would like maybe Game Awards, but now you brought that up. High likelihood is coming out this year. You know what it reminds me of looking at it? Is it bad? Kind of reminds me of that RDC World skit about that game looks like really expensive. And like these great graphics,
Life
like,
Days Dream or whatever it was.
Yeah. It'll come out and some indie game is just gonna freaking destroy it. That was worth $20. Stickman. This reminds me of like that kind of game. Like, oh man, it's got the best graphics, the coolest action, state of the art, great story. It could be a game changer if it's done correctly. I just need to see more of the game in its element because it's supposed to be an open world game, right?
It is, but it's also very much like what I'm curious
GTA?
about is it was supposed to be like build your own like dreams, but like a more expansive dreams. However,
that's what it's supposed to be.
Yeah. But it's also supposed to come with its own campaign. And so the question is, how extensive is that campaign? And what do you get to do in it? If that campaign is good and properly extensive, then I think everywhere might be all right. But if it's just Dreams Part 2 or like a more realistic, it's not really realistic because it had like a visual.
That's a great point because when you think about it, like, I hate to say this, but do people even talk about Dreams anymore?
Dreams was like Sony's biggest miss in terms of marketing. That game should have been marketed way more than what it was.
Because I've seen like people make the Dreams games like, oh, this is really creative. This is cool
like
too.
the stuff you can make in Dreams is like there's people who've made like games within that game. It's it's literally up to your imagination, but Sony just did not put in kind of marketing behind it.
It had to be somewhat successful because I think they just pulled marketing on it like a few months ago.
Okay.
Not marketing, development. They just pulled development on it a few months ago.
Yeah, it's been out for a while, right?
2019 or 2020.
Yep. Somewhere in that area.
Wow.
So we talking about 4 years of support. They supported it for a while, so it had to be decently successful. But yeah, everywhere it's supposed to be basically like Dreams, build your own game, build your own, world or whatever. But like also we've got a campaign for you if you don't want to do any of that. So it's going to depend on how creative that campaign is.
The actual campaign is.
So
I need to see more marketing behind them because, like, I guess what these companies that make these type of games do is like kind of let people know this is like Minecraft, but like realistic looking. Like you can make your own game and make your own experiences and make your own PvP. If it kind of got marked, it's like Roblox for adults. although adults definitely play Roblox. I know adults definitely play Roblox, but adults play Minecraft. But you know what I mean? Like it's supposed to be the next generation. I don't know. That stuff is always a toss up because it's like, man, it's hard to beat Roblox and Minecraft, boy. In those areas,
I don't think it'll beat it, but I do. As far as like whether or not it's gonna be here, I do feel like it's got to be somewhere.
I think it'll show up.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks for reminding me of that because I had totally forgot about everywhere.
No, that's gonna be the problem. They're gonna run into a lot.
That is
they're gonna have to market the shit out of that game. So I have the last game. Well, actually, there are a couple bonus games I want to toss at everybody. Those are gonna be freebies. Indiana Jones is the last game. This is gonna be coming out of I think is it IO Interact? No, it's what's the name of them boys? The dudes that did Wolfenstein. Machine Games.
Yeah.
And it was first announced in like 2021. I feel like Machine Games hasn't had a new game in a long time. Their last good game was Wolfenstein.
The New Blood?
No, not the New Colossus.
The New Colossus.
Yeah, that one.
Yeah, because the one with the twins was not well received.
Young Blood was not well received. Yeah. But the one before that was pretty well received. But that game is ages old. I'm gonna say yes. Like I don't really care about Indiana Jones like that, so I wasn't really following it closely. So that's why I was like, man, this is a good curveball. But like I feel like Microsoft needs to show up guns blazing. If you've got this ready, especially considering that there's an Indiana Jones movie coming out.
I was just gonna say, that'd be perfect timing for it.
Extremely good timing.
I would never time a game's release with a film, but I would definitely time a game's like marketing with a film. So like,
yes.
Oh, here's the trailer for an upcoming Indiana Jones game. As is the Indiana Jones movie is coming out. Like that can stick in people's heads. And if you like the movie, which, but if you like the movie, you're like, oh shit, I gotta check out the game. So I'm gonna say yes. I could be wrong. I feel like that's the one I have the least confidence in. I do want to throw a couple. Like we've got 3 curveballs. Well, we've got 3 extra freebies. The Outer Worlds 2.
Yeah, I can see that.
You're a yes.
I'm gonna say yes.
Anybody else got a guess?
I would probably say yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a strong possibility. Yeah.
Yeah, it is. It's strong.
Yeah.
That's kind of like their primary game now, right?
Yeah.
That studio.
Well, they're working on Avowed, if I'm not mistaken. That's the same studio, right?
Oh yeah, but I mean, like as far as like that was their successful game before, and the sequel to that. So
Now that's true.
kind of like
That's
their primary game. Yeah.
Am I wrong? Is Avowed somebody else? Nope. They're both.
Yeah, I
Obsidian.
think that's the same people.
Yeah,
Okay,
Obsidian.
Okay, so yeah, but I do think that it has a good chance of showing up. Last time we saw it was at that big 2021 game reveal. So there you go.
Right.
Perfect Dark.
Man,
that is an Xbox need. They need to show that, and I got a feeling they won't.
They need it.
Yes on that one.
But I'm gonna say no. Keem gonna say no on this one.
I got a feeling they won't. So no.
I'm gonna say no, just because I think that game probably needs another year in the oven, just because of the backstory that happened with it. So that's just my take on it.
Devin, I didn't hear you. What did you say?
I say yeah.
Okay.
It's a perfect name for it though. It's Perfect Dark. It's because the game is going perfectly dark.
Yeah,
I mean,
hey.
Going dark.
Going dark,
man.
I'm gonna say no. I feel like it's also alongside Beyond Good and Evil 2, but a little bit better off. It's in dev hell right now. Just the fact, I mean, like, it does have 2 developers working on it, 2 talented developers, but I mean, Crystal Dynamics is also working on the next Tomb Raider. So I mean, like,
yeah,
you know,
The game they really care about. Excuse me.
the game that they really trying to get back to the top with. So
Yeah.
we'll see. This one really is more me and Rakeem, but y'all are of course welcome to chime in. I just feel like me and Rakeem most likely to know about it. Greedfall 2.
Oh,
Now remind me, was this Game Awards announced or before that?
Before that, let me make sure, because I think I saw, like, the last trailer was a while ago, and I think it was supposed to come out this year, but I feel like
I
that's
think the first time I saw it, I think you had mentioned that to me.
it was announced a year ago.
Okay.
Sometime in May last year.
May last year. If it's May last year, there's a possibility we see a trailer.
I'm gonna
I can
say
see
yes
it.
too, because it can show up literally anywhere. Anybody else want to chime in, or do y'all not want to take the chance?
I would say because I do remember. I think King was the one that mentioned that game to me, and I went and looked at it. I
played it for a little bit. My brother played it. My brother got way farther me than I do. I didn't even get off the first area where you could actually go to the island.
I did get off the island and go to like the real game. I didn't get too far into it. Pandemic hit, and I just wasn't trying to play no game by no damn plague in the middle of the pandemic. I'm like, all right, man.
That's true. Although you on the island now, so you ain't gonna worry with plague. But yeah,
that's true. The last game.
Oh, Jack Folk?
No. I can guarantee. I'm gonna let everybody guess what this game is. There's no chance you guess. Rakeem, take a guess.
The game is. You're laughing about it.
It's already come out before.
It's already come out before. They renege on it come out?
I'm not talking no more. Like, that's the only hint y'all get.
Okay. It's already come out before. So it's a remake? Reboot?
Yes, just throw the guess out.
All right. Jack 4.
Okay. Jack 4. Devin.
Cyberpunk.
Terrence.
The Witcher 4.
Witcher 4. That game's not out yet.
It definitely come out.
Will.
Man, I ain't even gonna answer for that. Like, I'm just lost. So just count me as blank, bro. I have no guesses.
Say
Multiverses.
Oh.
You got
it. It's supposed to come out next year. I think that's what they said, right? They said they took it down and they was working on it for it to come out sometime next year. Do we see that game at any showcase this June?
I don't care. That's my
great answer.
Now this.
I got you down to I don't care.
I
actually played Multiverses and enjoyed the hell out of it. So I don't think so, because if it's going to this post-beta, we need to figure out how to market this game correctly so people actually stay kind of phase. We ain't gonna see that shit probably till like, December, Game Awards, or we'll
Yeah.
see it. We'll probably see it next
Mhm.
year.
Yeah.
Yeah, because like the game, as far as playing it, it didn't feel like a beta. It felt like it was feature complete. Like I felt like the game worked
Yeah, it
properly.
did.
Showing no
There
damn
was
beta,
no
they lied.
issues. There was no issues with it. It played well. They already had
It
DLC.
did.
Already had seasons. That game was not in beta.
It was exactly what you said. They were trying to figure out how to market it.
Yeah, the problem they had with marketing the game was fine.
Terrence,
So
what was your guess?
Yeah.
Same as Raheem. I think it's Game Awards. It's like they need some characters that people are gonna be like, oh shit, yeah, it's time to pick this game back up, or like some mechanics or something.
LeBron was not enough.
Braun was not enough. They
He
need
was
more
not.
Definitely
seasons.
won't be enough now.
They need more extensive seasons, like something that's more than you ain't never lied. They need something that's more than just like, oh hey, we got 2 characters this season, and the season's gonna last like 3-4 months. Like, bro, you need
Tripping.
real talk. Y'all gonna need a character every 2 months, and until y'all can get that up together, like I just ain't no sense. Don't try to bring the game back. It's just gonna fail again because like you need 2 characters every month. Or one character every 2 months.
Yeah, you need to come get guns blazing, man. I was like, they had Game of Thrones characters. I'm trying to see the Khaleesi. Lord
Put the
of the Rings.
White Walker in that bitch.
Put the White Walker, Lord of the Rings. I want to see Gandalf. I want to see Aragorn. I want to see Legolas.
Sauron.
Oh man, set it off for Sauron. That's what I'm talking about. See, we marketing it already. Get the characters you want to see in the game.
Foghorn
Leghorn.
Top tier Foghorn Leghorn, man.
Yeah,
definitely some
single player content too.
Yeah,
definitely.
It does need some, but it's free to. Well, actually, when they bring it out, is it gonna be free to play again?
That's a good question.
I think so.
I think it would be.
That would be a huge mistake.
Yeah, extremely.
At this point, I don't think
people that
go
bought
back on
content like they couldn't get it. Yeah, that wouldn't.
Yeah,
that wouldn't be good.
That'd be trash. I don't know. It's like for that game to even survive at this point, to be honest. But yeah,
I'd be surprised if they even bring it back, to be honest. But I am interested to see. Like, I hope everybody enjoyed the predictions list. I can't wait to come back here in like 4 weeks and see exactly where everybody fell. Hopefully, we're all wrong to some extent, and some of these games that we really want to see do show up. But I don't know. After this Sony thing, anybody could disappoint me at this point. So, but I'll tell you what. I think that's going to wrap it up for this week's podcast. If you enjoyed it, I need a few things from you. I need you to do us a favor and hit that subscription button on YouTube. I need you to follow us on Twitter. Follow us on TikTok. Don't just check us out. Tell your friends, tell your family, tell your coworkers. You don't know. You might even make a new friend. And do me a personal favor. Have an excellent week. Peace.